Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's session, we're going to continue with the accordion journal, and we're going to add a few more pages, maybe make some journal spots where we can be writing, giving a more neutral background for journaling, and let's see how that goes. So what we're going to do, I just want to trim this. I haven't touched any of the paper for this, the cardstock, and these are sheets that my printer did not load properly, but not wasting it, so I only printed it the one side because it did not feed properly. But for what I want to do now, it will be perfect. I was thinking of making a photo frame that we can add on one of the black sheets that fold out, or the flaps, call it as you want. So the sheet is always about 13 centimeters wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these, and I'm just going to, I want to just do it like that. So I'm going to, let's line it up properly so that it's not skew, a little bit, adjust it there. There we go. So I'm going to just, I can't decide do I want it 11 or 10, but let's do 10. And this will be used just in a little bit. And then for this one, I just want to cut it off there. This can become a pocket. Now I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to grab a pencil on 1.5 centimeters on either side. I'm just going to draw a line, and then same thing on the sides, about 1.5. But here I want to do it at about 2.5, not 3. And then I'm going to cut that part out. So let's cut that out. That will then be our photo frame, where somebody can add a photo, and we'll give them, that looks a bit skewed, so I'll just adjust it. Don't cut further than where you had put that. And this can be utilized later. I just want to go ahead and round the corners. I'll use the bigger one, then we'll ink it, and we will add it to our journal. And there we have a photo frame. Vintage photo. Going to ink the outside as well as the inside. Now remember, we cannot add too many things to this accordion journal, as the box that we are going to attach it to is only 2 centimeters high. That really doesn't give us a lot of space. And now the inside, and I just dropped it. This side too. There we have it. So there is our little photo frame. When you add this to the journal, you are only going to add it on 3 sides. Here they can actually have a little plaque that they can add. So for that we need a tiny bit of black. So I just want to see what I have in scraps. So we can rather use that than cutting up another sheet. Now we need a piece that doesn't have any glue on it. As I was working on another project, I used some of this cardstock as well. And this was trimmed. I had to make it wider than what I used, so this was a bitty. I'll just trim that. And I'll snip it with my pair of scissors, as I will be trimming this anyway. So for this to work and look special, I'm going to use this paper trimmer. Just want to see the size of this. Maybe a little bit less wide, not 2 centimeters. I'll just trim a tiny little bit of this. Line this up. That seems fine. Now I just need about that much. Not going to trim the whole thing, and again just snip that bitty there. Now let's see if this will now fit in properly. There we go. And just place that properly into the corner, not skew like the previous time. And I realize what is the issue. I turn my light. That's better. Let's get some light on the subject. Ah, now I can see what I'm doing. Working with black is always a problem. It is a bit difficult. So we're going to add that there, just so that they have a little space to journal if they need. And we will be adding some things on there, just to round it off. Maybe a bit of stamping there, maybe a little die cut, we don't know yet. We will see as we go on. I like that. Now let's add that to our journal so that we have the right place. Now I need to just turn it over so I can see again where I wanted to place this. There's a black flip out, maybe on the other side. There we go. No, not that one. One more. Ah, there we have it. And I want to add it in here. And I want to do it at an angle, just because we can. Now, I normally put my hand there so that I do not get it all wrong, just rubbing out those pencil marks. Now be careful. Don't be too rough with that. Otherwise, you could ruin your project by crumpling the corners. And how do I know? Because I've done it so many times. So I'm going to just add glue on the very outside of this. It will give them space to add their photo, just like that. And we are going to add it at an angle. And because I'm going to give this journal, I will make sure that the person that I give this to, I will also give them a white pen so that they can then do their journaling with a white pen on here, either white or gold. White or gold. A gel pen would be perfect for that. Now that looks just perfect, so I don't have a picture. I'll take a post-it note that's right here next to me, just to show you. This is then open. Okay, it won't stick because the post-it note has got glue on it, but there, I'll guide that in. It will be a bit too small because the post-it note is not the same size, but there will be a photo mat for them. They can then, and now the glue of the post-it note sticks to this, they can then place their photo in there, and they can write the date or a note, do some scribbles. We can also add some gold stickers on there. So there is a photo mat. For here, I would like to make another tuck spot where they can add more things. Now, I want to do this a little bit different. I want to just use this. Now, this is at an angle, and it's fine. I just want to show you it doesn't always have to be perfect. And because steampunk is supposed to be vintage, but it's actually very futuristic, it can be different. This can be totally different. So I am going to slice that off there. Then I want to see how this will go. I'm going to add it there so it can be a total new pocket, but this one will also need to just be sliced off, and we will then round the corners. And we'll just put glue there and there so that the rest is open. So for this, again, I'm going to ink it. I'm just going to do it there. And remember, our pages are about 13 centimeters, so I want to just shorten this a little bit more. This can become another one somewhere else. So, thinking, always just to hide that white core of the cardstock. Only cardstock that I know that has got a solid color in the middle is the basil cardstocks, the plain cardstocks that is. So if you buy the red and you cut it, it will be red right through. And that is really awesome. Now I should have rounded the corners. This won't go in there, so what we need to do is take a little thing, and we are just going to put this over there, and just ever so slightly, almost dropped my pencil. Trace that. Let's see, not working, so I will just trim it by hand, and then just redo the inking. Just at a rounding, and this one too. Should have rounded it before inking it. Just making sure all of that is inked. Now to add this, I'm going to put ink on the bottom and on the side. So hold that, and then just make sure that you just add a tiny slather of glue, and I'm going all skew like a jaggedy line. And a bit there. So this will become a tuck spot, and we will add it there to there. And if you have any glue running out, just a baby wipe while it is still wet. There we have that tuck spot. And you can then add a letter, you can add a card. This can be a wonderful gift. And I had once done that for a child where I made a little book, a comic book. He was so into comics, so the whole thing was a comic book. And in the pockets, I then had put small notes, so the total amount added up. But right through this book, there were these little surprises within a small envelope, behind a tuck spot, in a pocket. He found all these banknotes. So we have that and this one. Isn't that adorable? Photo can go in there and they can then do their journaling. So this one, I made the big X on it so that I know not to glue anything on there, as we will be adding or gluing that into the box. Now previously we had made a masterboard and we have these 4 journal cards. We will be decorating that soon enough. We have this other one that I just done the edges with, which is also a journal card, so we will be decorating this one too. The belly band. Let's see where we can add the belly band. And it needs to be somewhere where it can actually stand out. And we will be adding, I think here will be great. Now we have to cut this down a little bit. Now belly band normally runs from the top to the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on top there. And then I'm going to put glue on this one so I can get the size. And then flip this over so I can cut it shorter. I hope you understand what I mean with that. And I want to just bring in something else on here that will actually stand out. But we will do that at a later point. So first the top part, just some glue. Again, a thin slither of glue, not too much so that it doesn't seep out. And again, I'm using Distress Collage Medium, which is a perfect glue, and I love the fine tip nozzle. But art glitter glue would have worked, and also Eileen's, which is my other favorite glue. We don't get art glitter glue here, and if you order it, it is actually quite expensive. And you people see that I did not ink this. I did not ink the belly band. Can you imagine that? There's a piece standing up from the collage. So I'm going to quickly rectify that. Hopefully I will not be tearing this. Let me just get a clip quickly. I'll just attach this so that it can actually glue down, because I'm moving this now. So let's do that. While I still have the moment to ink the edges. And on this side. And I hope I didn't move it now too much that the glue doesn't want to stick. There we get that. Let's see. I need to ink it again. I mean glue it again. I'll just have to put glue on. I think I moved it. Let's just add glue. And I have to glue at the side too, so that we have the glue. And it can stick down. Just wipe that bit of glue there, and I'm going to just add this clip so that I can make sure it actually sticks down like it should. A little bit of pressure on both sides. And for this one, I just want to trim this part off. We will flip it open a bit later to trim that last bit off. But it just needs to stick down for the moment. I really just have more of these big bulldog clips here, but they work, especially when you do not have enough hands sometimes. So we've got the flip out, the photo frame there, and this needs to glue in. We will put our things in there. So this should be fine. Let's see, let's see. I normally keep my clips close by so that I have them when I need them. So for this one, I just need to trim that bit off. So please just excuse me for a moment while I move this so that I can get in comfortably. And just trim that part off. And it now keeps on slipping. There we go. And ink that area also. We will end off our pages, round it off by inking the sides, especially where I've added the other paper. That way it just looks well rounded, no white cores, and that is then visually more pleasing than having white cores sticking out. And it doesn't really make a difference on the black, but you can see on the white core parts it is a better visual. It just looks aesthetically more pleasing. So there we have that one. a beautiful belly band, and we'll just put something on top there just to have a different view. And I would like to have something that looks a little bit more metallic. So this, we're going to I want to add a few black photo frames just to bring in this beautiful black. Now, for this, I'm going to, let's turn this into a photo frame first. So I'm going to do the same as we did earlier, just a bit in a smaller. This one needs to be at about 2, just under 2 centimeters. Then the sides, add 1 and a bitty, just so that it's not so fragile and can bend easily. So this seems a bit skew. So let's fix that one quickly. Otherwise the lines would not work out. Just trim it ever so slightly. Yeah, it's better. And just on that line so that we can sort it. Just over 1 and a bit. And then we are going to cut the inside. Again, we are then going to round the corners. A journal is there to record the everyday important stuff. Those things that we would want to remember, whether it is a trip that you had, whether it is your finances. I have somebody asked me before to make them a financial journal where they can keep a record of all their expenses. And at the time I'm like, that's a strange request, but it made perfect sense because she was trying to see where she's going wrong with her budgeting and expenses. And in the end, she realized that little things like her coffee expenses daily and also her banking charges were making a big difference in what she had. So she would keep a better track of her total expenses. And she had a little pouch where she kept her receipts so she could really investigate where she was spending money and what was the little rabbit holes that her money disappeared into, so she could finally get a hold of that. So a journal could be, and this is why I'm telling you this, a journal can be literally anything. A journal is a book where you record things in. You decide what that is going to look like. It's your choice what you use it for. Some people would love to start with journaling. They can be mindful journaling where they are using a journal to look at, like this case, expenses. It could be ideas. If you are a visual journaler, you can use it as an idea book where you can then have your little ideas, a book of ideas if you want to. It can be a weight loss journey. It can be, like I mentioned before, a travel journal. It can be your to-do list. Mothers are often so busy, and with the kids' hectic schedules, they need to find a way where they can actually enable themselves to keep track and abreast of everything that they need to do. And especially the kids after school activities could be sometimes really hectic for them to keep up to. There are people that also have, as sad as it might be, having trouble with the loss of a loved one. So they would have like a grief journal. A gratitude journal would be another journal where you can then write about the things. And at first it might be difficult for you to put your thoughts on paper. Some people draw, they don't even put words on it. Other people just have an art journal where it is a source where they can be creative without having that added stress of it needs to be a painting or it needs to be this or that. They can literally just be themselves in that space. For others, it is a daunting task, the fear of a white page. Now, if you are scared of that, make a dot on that page. Do something, just put a blotch of paint on there so that you can simply get over that fear of a white page. You can even glue down another piece of paper. For some people, it is a matter they don't know where to start. So a journal can be for any and every reason. You decide. You literally decide what it is that you want to use that journal for. Whether it is planning a wedding, whether it is planning a trip, whether it is planning for your retirement, whether it is a big project that you're working on. A journal is just a book where you are keeping a record of the important things. I have a journal when I just started it, and it is still in a loose leaf format of how I keep track of the videos that I make. for scheduling purposes, the content of it, because there's many different facets. So literally a journal can be whatever you want it to be. On this side, I want a black one. So let me just move this out of the way. I just want that contrast. Now for this, I am going to, if I do this, I can get 2 out of there. So this glue was standing too long, and now it is ultra thick, but it will be fixed just now. And this is where the beauty of this card is coming in. You can use that for so many things. You can even use this to paint. You can make marks when you are doing collage fodder with a plastic card. You can use cardstock, thick cardstock if you don't have a card like this. Now here it's going to be a bit more tricky, just to guide that to the edge without smearing it all over, and a little bit there. There we go. I need a bit of glue there and a bit here as well. Now I can just do a bit in the middle. And I want to just fold this over. Remember, this cardstock is truly very thin, so I need a double layer of this. And now use the other side to burnish this. Otherwise there will be glue on this side, and we can't afford to have glue on there. And this can just wait a moment while I clean this. This baby wipe is a bit dry. Just clean the edges of that glue that is on the end, both sides, and then we're going to cut this. Also clean your card so that it is ready for the next time you want to use it without putting glue all over. Ruler, I need my ruler again. And I am aware that I'm a bit out of frame. Please forgive me, I'll move up right now so that we can get that out of the way. All right, now for this is done beautifully. I have a bit of glue at the back. Let's just rub that, but we can put that at the back. So I want to, there's extra piece, we will snap that off now, because we have to still trim this anyway. Now let's do that like so that it's minimum wastage there, and we're going to then cut this one a little bit. So we can do this at 8.5. That will be 19. So let's do the one there, and then the other we can change. So we will have a smaller one, skinnier. So I want to do the lines on this side. So here we are going to do this at 1, and this side also at 1 centimeter. Then turn this over. The bottom part, we'll do that at 1 and 2 and a, almost 2 3/4. But the top one needs to be at 1. And then we are going to cut this out. I hope you can see the sheen of the pencil lines, but you can do the cutting or the lines as you please. It doesn't have to be my exact measurements, honestly. Sometimes measurements stifle your creativity. So really do what you like to do. The measurements is just there as a guide. It is not a prescription of what you need to do exactly. And there we have that one. This, keep it. Before I continue, I should have done the lines for this one too. I just want to make sure this is actually straight, which it's not. So let's do that. So from here, I want to do, for ease of this, I'll just move it up so I can see the centimeter line. Then move it back for this one, to do the same there. And then from the top, again 1 centimeter from there. I moved my ruler too much, so it's off the project. And then centimeter there. For this one, the bottom, we will do it at 2 centimeters. 2 and that tiny little bitty. Why does this keep on looking skew? Because it is still. See, now this is me. I start with something and then eventually it's so much shorter because I keep on trimming, and then that little bit. So we're going to cut this as well. And then we will just round the corners. There's not going to be any inking for the black. And because this is a double layer of cardstock, remember it's very thin. It's supposed to be 230 grams, but I think they made a misprint there because it's not that thick. In fact, it's thinner than this cardstock. Hence why I doubled it up. So we've got that one. As it out, pop out, and pop out. There we go. Now to just round the corners. I love the rounded corners. I find it just adds something extra. Now for this one, the same, the medium one. And here we are going to add some other, oh, I need to push that in a little bit. There we go. Of our original brown strips. Now I did make a masterboard, so I've got very little of these strips left. In fact, where did I put them now? I must have moved them. So luckily we still have these ones. Let's cut it lengthwise. I'll just cut that both. I want 1.5, like so. And that one we can do too, because that is a bit thicker. And I keep moving this now. My ruler has got this lip underneath, so just to be careful. All right, this one we're going to use that little ticket stub again and just do the same thing. Make sure it fits in nicely, otherwise it will ruin the project, like with the first one that I've done, because I couldn't see the light was turned. And light on the subject is very important. So we're going to add this to our project, and then we're going to add the photo frames. On the topic of journaling, as it's a record of everyday important things, photos plays a very important role. And you normally only realize the importance of that when photos are all that you have left. So take those photos. These days it's so much easier because we can store photos digitally. It's not like a few years back where you have to develop phones and it's costing you a lot of money. You can now print your very favorites, but take those photos. And for those of us that are scared and hate photos, like I am one of those, don't take that opportunity away from your loved ones, because one day the photos will be all that they have left of you. So let's add these two photo frames. I just want to close this glue because otherwise it will be so gooey and sticky again. Let's see where we will add these. I want one there, and this one I want to put it straight down like so, and I want to add something there. So this is easy. We can remember where to put the glue as it is wider. And we are going to add a little pocket there. I think that will be gorgeous. So let's see quickly. We've got a strip like this. I want to first finish this pocket before I add that one. I want it this wide. Do I have a thinner strip? Barely thinner, but that can work. So I need to just move this up a little bit. I just want to make a mark, and then I will line this up. Sorry for that noise of the ruler. And guess what? No, it's not skew. I thought it was. It would not have surprised me if it was skew, because that could be my middle name, is Skew. Now, this one, I don't want to add any paper to this. I want a bit of contrast, so I will go, sorry for the noise in your ears, I'll go for some of DG and SVG Designs. I want to use some of their little ephemera pieces, digis. This one is just a little bit too wide. Oh, I love that one. That one is the one it will then be. But I'm going to first just a tiny little bit of inking. I'll just turn it this way. Just a little bit of a vintage look. Don't damage the printable now. You can change all of the printables and make it your own. I just want a bit of that. Now, this will be on there, but I'll turn it over. I want a strip, a thinner strip of paper. Now, where will I get that? This lady, right? I want that. So what I need to do is just, we won't recognize this, so I'll do this part. I think I like that better. Now we just need to see, and we don't have to have the same strip. If you sometimes need a bit of paper and you don't have enough of the same, and you're going to do what I'm going to do now, I'll show you. We're going to cheat a tiny little bit and slice that in the middle. I don't want the music paper, otherwise I could have used that already. I just want to ink the ends just to hide the white core as always. Right. So in the middle of this, we are going to add this. It's just a little bit more detail without any added. I've got glue there, so let's just see quickly. I'll turn this over, see if I can get this glue off here. A bit of that. That's a mess. And in the middle. So line this up so that we can get the middle more or less. So we need to do it turn over, otherwise the T will be upside down. We're going to add that there. And the same with this side. I just want to wipe the glue. And then the M on the other side. And then we're going to add that little ephemera piece of DG and SVG designs on there. And this now needs to go there. And we've got about a second or so to maneuver this, otherwise this sticks down. And I think I just moved it. There we go. And now it's done. So this one, see, it folded over when I was inking it. So let's do this one. Some on the edges and in the middle to make sure it glues down well. Don't glue it down upside down, which is oftentimes what I do. And there we have that. So we've got a little bucket with a different look to it. And I just want to increase that color just to make the contour a little bit more. Bring the journal closer, and we're going to add this there. So it will be a little bucket. We can't do it further than that. Just want to trim that edge. There's a little bit standing out from there. So just making sure I put glue on the right place. Otherwise, I'll have an upside down bucket. And we're going to add it there and there so that it is lined up with that edge. So once this is dry, you can have your photo in there, but you can also add a little something in there on there. And that can be like hidden journaling, little tag, whatever it might be. I think it will be cute. Just that little bit of something different. So there we have that page. We can flip this over to another one. Same thing. Glue on the outer edge. And if they add their photo, they can even pop in something I want to show you. So what can we use? This will just be too small. But if the photo is there, they can then, sorry for the noise in your ears, also add something in front of the photo. So say that was the photo, they can then add this. So let's not disturb the glue so that that can just glue down. And another photo frame. I'm very mindful of the height of this, so I'm just checking every now and then that we do not have too much going on. I want to make a pocket this side, like a little tuck spot. For this, I need to just trim this cardstock. There we go. I've got so many pieces lying here next to me. I'm so glad you can't see that. It actually looks quite awful. Same as earlier, we're going to glue the top and the bottom. We can maybe size this before the time and have it glued down perfectly well. So line it up. It's about there on half. So we'll just cut it there. Glue on top and bottom. I now sliced it off. Did I even ever check the top? I did indeed. Wow, I'm quite amazed because sometimes I can forget to check these things. So a bit of glue on top there. You have to work really quick with this glue. Hey. and my other clip this side, just to hold it a little bit in place. This side, I didn't even glue down yet, so I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe it's just that I didn't. And just lift the last bit there. There's now a piece that was stuck on the nozzle. Let me just put glue there. And there we have that. Again, I just want to run a baby wipe across, just to make sure I don't have excess glue running out. These are the little bits of paper that I'm talking about. Into the bin. Those I will definitely not use. So let's go around. This will also be an awesome photo map, but we can just add something to that page. Let's flip out. Now here I want to do something different. Where is that sheet? I want to try and make a pocket, but looking a bit different. And for that, I'm not cutting all the white off here. I want to use this so that it corresponds, and I want to just add that here. Now what I'm going to do is this page, which is on cardstock, I'm going to just maybe I should do it from there, because I want that there. Do I now want it? Let's do it this way, like I planned it originally. So I'm going to just sort of fuzzy cut this, not too much. We don't want it to be too weak by cutting too much detail. And she's got this umbrella, and then here I want to just cut it like that and see where this needs to go. And I think up to there. For this, I cannot leave this as is, as it will not stand out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down on this cardstock. I just want to trim this part at the bottom. There's a bit of white there. And then, of course, the bit that I had started cutting. So, for this to be emphasized and a bit of a focal point on the page, I want to just mat this on black cardstock. And yes, this is the thinner cardstock. So for here, I'm going to, let me see, that side is not straight. This side, however, is. I'm going to add this to the right-hand corner and have that. Now I'm going to trim this fussy cut with a little edge. Just around. When we fussy cut, remember we move our paper so that our scissors are really doing minimal work. And I just see this edge is lifting up, so I'm going to just have to trim that a bit as it is anyway skew, and I will make it more skew. There we go, and a bitty like that. There we have it. Let's see if that is effective. Too wide? No, it's perfect. Perfect. I just want to add a bit of glue on these edges. They're lifting up, and with usage, it will definitely cause havoc later on. And this edge also needs to be fixed, as I did not put glue to the end there. Again, a bit of, there we have that, and just a bit of guidance so that it can bend a little bit. Paper has got no memory, so we can straighten things up. And now, oh, there's a bit, see, I moved that over, and it's fine. We're just going to trim that side. We're going to add glue this side, and at the bottom, and now we have a very interesting looking duck spot. You can do this with flowers in any other type journal, and I'm going to also just glue that part down so that it is a very sturdy journal spot. Duck spot, I mean to say, not journal spot. And then that little bit of black is just putting the emphasis on this couple here. And this should be done, so I can take that down. It sometimes saves time if you don't have to sit and hold glue and wait for it to dry. So there we have that pocket. Now we've got the belly band, we have this one, and we need to do something here as well. I want to do more photo frames. I still need to put something on there. Now for this one, I only have that, so that will be a small one. Now if I have another one maybe. Let's see. I'll just move this out of the way so that I can get a smaller cardstock. All right. this one. I did not trim the rest of the white off. Let me do that. It's always actually better to do this either with a paper trimmer or with the ruler and the craft knife than by hand, as you can go a little bit skew. It's just even. And as I proved to you today, I cannot do this straight. Let's just close that for a bit, as we haven't used it in a while. So the space is not so big. We need to do it about 7 and... yeah, let's do this. So I want to just keep the paper straight. Now, about up to there. That's the first photo frame. And then this will be the second. Turn this over, and we are going to just mark again like we did with the previous ones, but this time we'll go 1 centimeter right around on both sides. The top also, and the bottom we are just going to do the same thing, 1 centimeter. And now I'm going to let us do something very risky. I'm going to cut this 1 time. Now I do hope this does not slide. If it slides, we've got a problem. And that goes for the ruler and the craft knife. Now let's just cut 1 more time, just to make sure. Line it up again. We follow the lines, but we need to just be careful. Don't cut further than that cross line, which I just did. Line up again. You cut against your ruler. Just make sure you kind of keep your project with the other hand. And the last one, just make sure they still lined up perfectly well for the last cut. Again, hold it with your ring finger and pinky and make a double cut just to make sure you got that. 1 shot, we've got that, and this one has got a tiny bit. There we go. And they are the same all around, so we can go in and just, there's a bit of a shark's tooth, round this with a medium size corner rounder. We will ink this as it's the Steampunk printed cardstock, and that one. So this should have enough. The inside, you know by now why we do that, rounds the project off, but it also hides the white core, so it's got a dual purpose. And the outside, I think I need a bit of ink. Same with this side, and we're going to attach it. So we added some journal spots, and in this case the journal spots were extra tuck spots and photo frames, because photos are also a very integral part, very important part of journaling. There we go. So let's add that, and we can quickly go through and see what else to do. So here we're going to add the one like that and this one like that. Let's see, will it work? It should. So I'll start with the bottom one. Glue again on the outside corner. I should have put this on the side. And at the bottom, and come around on this edge. And we keep the top open so they can just slide in photos. And now this one, we need to just do it there. We can't put too thick a label on it, so I'm not going to put a journal spot on the photo frame, as they are too close to each other and it might just be in the way of adding the other photo. So this one can be slid in from the top, and this one will then be slid in from there. You don't move it now, but luckily it's still fine. And there we have photo frames that are easy to add a photo to. We need something in here, but we will do that in the next session, and we will finalize this one also. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you are going to make progress on your accordion journal. Please tag Wow Crafting on social media if you are prepared to show us your work. I would love to see that. If you want to see more content like this, please give me a thumbs up so that I can share my videos with more people. And as always, I will be appreciating it if you can hit the subscribe button as well as that little notification bell so that you can be notified of new content wherever I upload. See you back soon. Goodbye.